And just this Valentine's Day, 2 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
we got a love letter from LV saying that they
Yes.
are appointing, I was going to say, Pharrell Williams
Yes.
as the new creative director. And that's
So
it's a hot like pick.
it's extremely hot in like the very precise meaning of that word. Like it's causing heat. It's intended to be heat worthy to light up feeds, right? Because it's honestly very similar to if they had, I feel like, picked Kanye West to be their creative director when they initially picked Virgil, because it
Yeah.
was apparently legitimately being talked about or thought about by people at the time. And it seems like this time they came back around and were like, yeah, let's try that, but not with Kanye West. You know
Mm,
what I mean?
yeah. The Louis Vuitton Don. They said, too close to
Mm-mm.
home.
Mm-mm.
But what's just even on that topic, what is
Mm-hmm.
kind of interesting about Pharrell is that he's kind of like the fashion hip hop artist,
Sure.
because if you look at Kanye, Tyler, the creator, another
Mhm.
person, another person, you look at all these musicians in hip hop who are big, who are now known for like their trend setting, for their style, for et cetera,
Yep.
et cetera. They almost all of them cite Pharrell as being one of their biggest influences because he was
Yeah.
on the scene, kind of pushing the boundaries of what a hip hop artist looks like, dresses like, before everyone else. So it's interesting to think about, like, well, LV wanted Kanye
Hmm.
originally in some ways, and the Kanye is Pharrell, kind of. So I guess
Absolutely.
they got right to it. And Blanks, you just commented, and I want to build on it.
Yeah.
I think Pharrell is one of the best tastemakers. Period.
Period.
And and that is kind of the crux of, I guess, what we're all talking about today, because it's
Yeah.
like Pharrell undoubtedly is an artist. He's
Hmm.
a producer. He's a performer. And he, Billionaire Boys Club is a real brand that he
Yep.
is responsible for. But is he a designer or is he a tastemaker? What is he? Does it matter? That's kind of
I don't think it matters, but the thing is that the fact that it doesn't matter is kind of sad. And there may just be a little bit of lamenting in this. I don't know if you will be joining me in that, but there is to me. And I think he is not a designer and he never will be, but he's also not claiming to be, right? I
yeah.
have to assume that he's going to be stepping into the role of a curator, essentially. I saw somebody, I can't credit them, I don't remember at all, but I'll just steal their thought. They were online saying they assume it's going to be kind of like what Kim Jones has been doing recently at Dior, where it's
Yeah.
just kind of picking the cool people. He's looking around, being like, that person's doing cool stuff. Let's bring them up. Let's give them a guest collection, a collaborative thing. I would not be surprised at all to see Pharrell really leaning on that kind of formula, because honestly, I'm not sure what other formula he might have, right?
Yeah. And I think that that's kind of a big part of the discussion today, because
Mm-hmm.
frankly, I think that that was a lot of what Virgil did. Do you think Pharrell was the first? We got another comment on the screen. Do you think Pharrell was the first choice, or did some people turn them down first? Asked Kyle Ackerman. Um, well, I think this. I think
Mm-hmm.
most people, like in the world of fashion designers, there are some positions that are like the most coveted. And
Mm-hmm.
those positions are typically considered like creative director of Chanel, creative director of Dior, and recently Louis Vuitton has taken that, like, that it is one of the most coveted
Yeah.
positions in fashion because it's one of the biggest brands. It is one of the oldest. I think I remember an interview Nikolai Gesquier gave a few years ago where he was talking about that topic itself. Like he was saying, like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in one of the most desired positions and life is good. So
Yeah.
I think to answer Kyle's question or his like thought experiment, um, I don't know, because my thinking is that if you were a big designer and you were offered that role,
Mm-hmm.
there's you would almost certainly want to jump on it.
Yeah,
It's like it being president. You know, if you're a politician and you have the opportunity to be president of the United States, it's like the last and the best job.
it's the
So
end of the line.
it's
Yeah.
the end of the line in a lot of ways. But I'm not saying that that's not possible. I'm sure, like, let's say they offered it to Rick Owens.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Rick would have said, I don't want to do that. That's not going to be my vibe.
Yeah.
And that job is so much work that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'll never be able to see Michelle and we'll never be able to, you know, love each other. Um,
Hang out in on the beach doing push-ups or whatever he
yeah,
does,
or whatever,
right?
or whatever.
I do want to touch on this because I don't know how involved you were in the past, you know, however long it's been that they've been bandying about all these different names for LV. I don't know if you've been keeping up with it, but there were names that were constantly being talked about, having stories written about the short list, and Pharrell was not on those.
Yeah.
I will say it seemed like leading up to this moment we're at here, it had been narrowed down to two that you were seeing everywhere, 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 and that was Martine Rose and Grace Wales Bonner.
Really?
Yes,
I wasn't paying enough attention.
those
Are
were the two.
cool like picks if they happened, because that's I feel like those are two designers who are maybe more influential than they get credit for and
Oh
not
yeah,
highlighted enough. So
Martine Rose is, I would say, at least 40% responsible for Demna's Balenciaga and
I
that
was going to
entire
say the same
aesthetic.
thing. I was going to say
Yeah.
that's the Demna in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of, not to take anything away from Demna,
No, not at
but
all.
definitely like huge influence on that. But I think that ultimately, I mean, like it feels a lot like the Virgil appointment. Louis Vuitton loves money. They love money. And in a lot of ways, they know that the clothes aren't going to matter. You know, the clothes aren't going to be,
Yeah,
they're
and
not going to break even. It's
if I
just
want to
about
put
love.
on if I want to put on my bad faith hat for a second, which I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
because I want to, maybe that's why I'm lamenting a little bit because I would have liked to see what either of them could do
Yeah.
with that kind of money and that kind of atelier and all that. And also, I find it a little bit convenient that the final names were up and coming women of color that were giving a really nice aura around the idea of either of
Mm-hmm.
them ending up with that job. And then it goes to Pharrell, you
Goes
know?
to another black man.
I know.
In my brain, like I don't think Martine Rose or Bonner turned down the role. I think that
Yeah.
my guess is if they were offered it, even like facing the challenge and everything, I think either of those designers would be like, yes, I will be the president of the United States. I will take this role because it's a
Yeah.
massive role.
I have to assume, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they were literally like behind the scenes treating it like an Oscar campaign,
Yeah,
going and shaking hands and stuff. Like that's how big of a deal it
totally,
would be
totally.
to get that gig.